The June 25th, 2014 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Andrews, Mr. Baroth, Dr. Carbone, Mr. Daniele, Mrs. Draw, Mr. Haney, Ms. Cayley, Dr. Quattro, Mr. Rocco, Mr. Tucciarello, Chairman Yolovich.
Here. Will Legislator Cayley please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
There are not.
Is there anyone here that is not signed up that would like to address this committee? Seeing none, at this time, I'd like to invite the representatives from Covanta Energy to present Mike Garland on behalf of the County Executive Maggie Brooks their $1 Million Thanks Award. So if you people would come forward, or whoever, and Mike, step right up to the mic. Mike.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak and to present today give this award. We're very appreciative of County Executive Maggie Brooks for her leadership on this very important issue. We're also appreciative to all Monroe County workers, law enforcement, and others who have helped make pharmaceutical collection successful in Monroe County. We are especially thankful to Tom Sinclair for his early partnership with us to make take-back programs successful. Monroe County, as many of you know, is a messaging leader, teaching us not to flush or throw pharmaceuticals into the trash. This leadership by County Executive Brooks and by the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services helps educate us to the environmental impacts of our actions and helps educate us on the tremendous issues we are facing with pharmaceutical abuse. Without this type of leadership by County Executive Brooks, by Environmental Services Director Mike Garland, we would have more contamination of our waters and more drug abuse by our citizens. As all of you likely know, we have more work to do. Our voices must continuously raise awareness on the pharmaceutical drug abuse issue, which is an epidemic in America today, taking more lives than motor vehicle accidents. We must continue to fight to keep our waters as clean as possible. Our advocacy must never tire. We must stand as one to help move the Drug Enforcement Agency regulations to issuance. It is a long overdue process for us to get to a national program to address pharmaceutical take-back. Once we have a pharmaceutical drop-off location at every pharmacy in America, we will have the ability to reach every American and give them the opportunity to dispose of their unwanted pharmaceuticals safely and in an environmentally secure manner, which means no flushing and no landfilling. Our program, which we call Prescription for Safety, under the acronym RX4Safety, has taken in over 1 million pounds of pharmaceutical waste and destroyed it in our energy from waste facilities. Our program is free to any community in the United States. All they have to do is get it to us, meet certain criteria, and we'll dispose of it for free. When we burn it in our facilities, we meet all federal requirements for emissions. It's destroyed in an environmentally sound process. We produce energy for steam or for electricity, which is then sent to the grid. You should be pleased to know that Monroe County was instrumental in helping us recognize the path to provide this service. It is with great pleasure and an immense amount of gratitude that I am able to present our $1 Million Thanks plaque to Maggie Brooks, Monroe County Executive, for exceptional leadership. Quite simply, County Executive Brooks represents the type of leader that helps make America a great country to live in. It is also with great pleasure and also immense gratitude that I've brought a certificate of appreciation for Tom Sinclair, industrial waste engineer, household hazardous waste coordinator, and probably several other titles that I don't know, at Monroe County for his early leadership in this important issue. In one of my PowerPoints that I gave several years ago, I have a picture of Tom with our Dave Urbanski shaking hands in front of one of Monroe County's collection events. And it was that initial partnership that made me think, why don't we put together a national program to try to address this issue? These two awards clearly demonstrate our recognition of the contributions of Monroe County to pharmaceutical. Thank you very much for letting me be here today and to make these presentations.
There you go.
I think we've got a certificate for Tom as well. Tom, would you like to just come up and get the certificate? Come on up.
Heather?
I told Tom I'm going to frame it and mail it to him, so
Heather?
it'll be a little higher quality than just a piece of paper.
Come on up, Heather. You come up, Heather. Telephoto lens, I guess. Michael, do you have words of wisdom?
Just a couple few words of wisdom. Yep, there you go. On behalf of County Executive Brooks, thank you, John, and Covanta Energy for this very prestigious award. If I could just recognize Tom Sinclair again for his inspiration, his innovation spirit, and Russ Rotowski and Michelle Vertz and the whole Department of Environmental Services team who make the county's pharmaceutical collection program a huge success. But it's more than our efforts alone. We wouldn't be able to do it without partnerships like we have with Covanta Energy, with Wegmans, with Waste Management out at Eco Park, Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and local police departments, as well as the U.S. Department of Drug Enforcement Administration. I'm proud to say since the program began in 2008, the county has served in more than 26,000 of its residents at 460 events to collect over 62,000 pounds of pharmaceutical waste that has been converted to energy at Covanta's Energy from Waste facility in Buffalo. I think it's fair to say our program would not be as successful as it's been without our relationship with Covanta, who accepts those pharmaceutical waste at no cost to the county. So again, on behalf of County Executive Brooks, thank you, John, and Covanta Energy for being a dedicated partner and for recognizing the county as a leader in protecting our community's health and safety. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You have the minutes from the May 21st, 2014 meeting in your folder. They'll stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item is new business. Madam Clerk?
Referral 14-0207.
Moved by Legislator Rocco, seconded by Legislator Tucciarello. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0208.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, seconded by Legislator Quattro. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0209.
Moved by Legislator Quattro, seconded by Legislator Daniele. Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I just have one very quick question, I promise, and that is, technically two, how are these high-risk locations tracked historically?
Through the chair, we get the accident data from New York State DOT and the DMV, and then we marry that with a computer program with our traffic volumes, and that calculates the accident rate, and then we compare that to the average accident rates on other similar county facilities, intersections, city intersections and facilities. And if it's higher than the average and higher than this critical rate, we look to see if we've done anything else at that intersection, as well as how many accidents have occurred, to see if we can find any patterns. And if we think that there could be an opportunity to look at further into it, then we get the actual accident data, and that's what this program is going to do, is look at 52 different locations, and to see if any engineering measures or other measures need to be done at those intersections of those sections of road.
Thank you. And you already answered my second question. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0210.
0210. Moved by Legislator Daniele, seconded by Legislator Draw. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, is this perchance what has affectionately become known as the pothole money, that special appropriation that the state is giving to all municipalities?
Through the chair, it is. As part of the governor and the Assembly and Senate, the budget that was passed, they put $40 million additional dollars into CHIPS, and our number that we get from that is somewhere about $380,000, of which we need to increase our CHIPS account this year by $350,000.
And through the chair, what will the additional money be used for?
Through the chair, there's one project that we're going to do that was high on our list that we were unable to do, but now we are, and it's out in Greece on Island Cottage Road, and we're going to be overlaying Island Cottage from Janes to Latta, and then we're using the remainder of the money at various of the roadways that we are going to do this year with maintenance and CHIPS dollars, to do spot repairs that we did not anticipate needing to do, or to do a little extra work that we weren't going to able to do, to utilize the rest of the money.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0211.
Moved by Legislator Draw, seconded by Legislator Carbone. Legislator Haney.
Through the chair, what neighborhoods will the money be used in?
Through the chair, I guess the identified places, for targeting are zip code defined, and that includes zip codes 14605, 14608, 14609, 14611, 14621.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0212.
Moved by Legislator Carbone, seconded by Legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion? Hearing Haney, Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What was achieved, through the chair, what was achieved with the first year's money in this program?
Good evening. Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, Legislator, would you mind repeating that question? I'm sorry, I missed it.
What was achieved with the first year's funding in this program?
Last year was the first year that we had obtained the grant through the state and through an organization called the International Office for Adolescents to address sex trafficking of youth under the age of 16. We were granted $124,000 to do that, and it provided over 85 community awareness events, street outreach, trainings. It reached about 1,020 youth, over 1,300 adults, and about 75 agencies. The purpose of it was, to identify victims of sex trafficking. 33 youth were identified as commercially sexually exploited youth through this initiative. And we had about, I believe it was 29 that were identified as having 10 or more major what we call red flags or indicators that they could also be have been trafficked, and those are being looked at as well.
And through the chair, what were we able to do then with these 33 youth that were identified and the 29 that potentially were also in this category?
Through the chair, whichever medical service they needed could have been housing. We partnered with the Center for Youth, who also takes care of our runaway homeless youth, 16 years of age and younger, and we contracted with them because they have such great work. They've done great work with our youth in the past, and what they do is they go out and identify these youth, and they basically enable a sense of trust from these youth, which we don't get from anyone else. The youth then are able to confide in them and then get whatever medical services they need after that.
So, through the chair, this grant basically enables the county to identify the at-risk youth, and then the at-risk youth are referred to the Center for Youth. Is that the way it works?
Through the chair, a little tweak to that. What happens is we have these advocates that go out from the Center for Youth and try to find victims. Once a victim is identified, the Center for Youth will then either refer them to the county if that's the necessary service, or get them to the appropriate place.
Does some of the 112,000 go to the Center for Youth?
Yes, it would. It pays for the advocate and the coordinators, and for any services that are needed by the youth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0213.
Moved by Legislator Rocco, seconded by Legislator Tucciarello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I have a couple questions regarding this referral. The first is, how many responses did we receive from the RFP?
Through the chair, are we on 215?
213.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here.
I don't know the answer to that.
Through the chair, we received 2 responses.
2 responses, thank you. And through the chair of the administration, our current vendor, which I assume is the Roy Tightsworth Incorporated, we've been working with for the past 15 years. Have those been, from the county's point of view, successful through the chair?
Could you repeat the end of the question, please?
Thank you. Yes, I will. For the past 15 years, if I'm correct, we've worked with Roy Tightsworth Incorporated to do auctions. And my question is, has the county determined that this relationship over the past 15 years to be successful, i.e. Profitable?
Through the chair, absolutely, yes.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, I did have a couple questions, just so I am clear on this. I note that there were 2 auctions listed. One is the surplus auction, the unclaimed item auction, and one is the fleet surplus auction. Are those the only 2 auctions that Tightsworth would be doing for us through the chair?
Through the chair, those are the 2 scheduled auctions. The county has the option to add additional auctions to that portfolio, but these are the 2 that are traditionally scheduled.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, I know that for items that we are selling, the county is selling, we are giving a commission of 9% to Tightsworth. Through the chair, is that a industry standard or a standard rate, 9%? Is that give or take a percentage or so?
Through the chair, that's my understanding.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, one last thing. I realize on properties that they auction off that are not county-owned, we would receive a percentage of the commission. So essentially, if we assume 9% is approximately the standard rate, we would get, in one case, 5% of that 9%. Is that correct through the chair?
Through the chair, I believe that's correct.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, one last question, and that's regarding the online sales. I note that it talked along the lines of a graduated scale buyer's premium in lieu of commissions. For online sales of county property that is not at one of the scheduled auctions through the chair, is this something we would also receive our percentage of as well for the online sales?
Through the chair, I believe yes.
Thank you.
But I can confirm that for you.
Thank you. Because I'm particularly concerned about that one, because when you mentioned the 2 and other scheduled online year-round all the time. It's through the chair. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0215.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, second by Legislator Quattro. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, just one question. Do we have a breakdown on the local cost split of 20% between state and local of how much we would be responsible for and how much the state would be responsible for through the chair?
Through the chair, the state pays 3%, and then we pay the other 17%.
Thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0216.
Moved by legislator Quattro, second by legislator Daniele. Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, is this arrangement totally separate from the arrangement we entered into with the society for the, I think it was the elephant enclosure a couple of years ago?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, close. It was for the Step into Africa exhibit, which includes the elephants, also includes the baboons and lions. But this is a completely separate arrangement.
Okay. Is the Zoo Society current on the payments they were to make to the county for the Africa exhibit?
The Zoo Society, through you, Mr. Chairman, is current with the amount that they pledged. There is an outstanding amount of $500,000 from New York State that we are waiting for to complete the payments. We understand from contact with the state Senate as recently as yesterday that that is on track, and we should see that within the next month or so.
But the Zoo Society is current?
Correct.
Okay. And through the chair, it says that this is increasing from $553,000 to $895,000. What is causing the increase?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the original amount was the amount of the New York State grant when we came to the legislature to accept the gift. We then went out to bid on behalf of the society about a year ago on this project, and the bids came in above that amount. We then fine-tuned it a bit, but the most recent bids did come in above the grant amount, and the Zoo Society will make up the difference.
So through the chair, the $553,780 is not coming from the Zoo Society, it's coming from the state.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that amount is coming from the state through the consolidated funding agreement process, but it is going to the Zoo Society.
So it's a pass-through from
Correct.
the Zoo Society. But the additional $340,000, that's going to be the Zoo Society's own money?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And they have the financial wherewithal to do that?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, they do.
Thank you.
Legislator Kaley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration. I just want to verify that this development plan does not exceed the accepted expansion guidelines.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that's an excellent question. The 1991 master plan footprint, which County Executive Brooks adopted as the county's own when the elephants were moved down to the current Africa exhibit, will be maintained. This is well within that area. The animal housing will be placed in the footprint of the current education facility, which is at the front gate, and the housing for offices will be next to the Eco Center.
Thank you. And then, through the chair, do you anticipate that the added attraction of this complex is going to increase the need for parking at all?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, no, it should not. It will accommodate existing programming.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 14-0219.
Moved by Legislator Daniele, seconded by Legislator Draw. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth?
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I just first want to say I'm very excited about this grant. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I I'm all about it. I just had one quick question regarding the improvements to the roofs of those two structures, and that was essentially, is there any thought given to providing, not with this grant, but leaving the opportunity open for solar generation of power on top of those roofs at some point in time?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware that that's being contemplated. It certainly isn't as part of this application.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, if this grant is successful, when will the funds be available?
We expect a response on the grants in September, but as to when those grants would be available to us, I don't have that date.
Okay, thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, if for any reason the grant is not successful, would the approximately $194,000 remain in the capital fund 1665?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, it would.
Thank you.
Legislator Kaley.
I saw that look. Thank you, through the chair. This is a quick one. I like this a lot, and in this referral, have there given any thought to, or whether the roofs on these buildings were appropriate for passive light generation within the building? The only way I could liken that, through the chair, is the lighting that they use within a Walmart. Obviously, that's a single-story building, but there are other options for something along this line. I just wondered if that had been explored.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, there would be an opportunity for passive lighting through the roof.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Through the chair, would or would not be?
There would not be.
Would not be.
Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other matters to come before? Legislator Haney.
2 quick questions. Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering when the committee may anticipate receiving the first quarter key indicator report.
Mr. Chairman, this committee can expect that report Friday.
This Friday? Thank you.
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
And second quick question, when may the committee anticipate that the KPMG auditors will be meeting with us?
Mr. Chairman, we've actually discussed that with KPMG, and we would like to bring them to the July meeting.
Thank you.
There being no other matters, the June 25th, 2014 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee is scheduled for Wednesday, July 30th, 2014 at 6 p.m. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.